You know, beside getting great tips by watching our TV shows, you can actually go to our sport fishing website and you can go to Ask Italo and ask me any questions you want about fishing. And I can give you very specific tips and advice that you can use no matter where you fish in Canada. For example, when it comes to walleye fishing, probably the #1 artificial lure to use is a jig head and a plastic grub. And what I'm holding up is a 3-inch plastic twister. This particular one is white. Now there's so many of these plastic twisters on the market and so many jig heads that sometimes it's confusing to anglers to know which ones or to figure out which ones to use. Really, when it comes to choosing the right jig head, it's a matter of size and the water depth that you're fishing. So what I'm going to do, I've got this small selection of jig heads that I brought up here to Kesagami, and I'm going to pick an 1/8 ounce jig head, I'm going to pick a 1/4 ounce jig head, and I'm going to pick a 3/8 ounce jig head. And I just want to show you the differences. I'm going to try to hold these in my fingers so you can actually see the 3 sizes. So this particular size is 1/8, 1/4 ounce, 3/8 ounce. You can see that each one is slightly bigger than the other. The small one, the 1/8 ounce, you'd use if you were fishing in water that's less than about 7 or 8 feet deep, if it's not too windy. The 1/4 ounce, water from about 8 to 15 feet. If you're fishing deeper than 15 feet, you'd use the 3/8 ounce. The whole idea of using jigs properly and plastic grubs is to fish them near the bottom. Okay? So it doesn't matter what kind of grub you use, but a twister tail is #1. If you can't feel the bottom, usually you have to go to a heavier jig head because walleye are usually in the bottom foot or 2 feet of the bottom. Okay? So what I'm holding up here is a very special plastic grub. These particular grubs are made by Trigger X and they're pheromone impregnated. So the first thing that you will notice when you open the package is a very strong smell. We don't like it very much, but I'll tell you what, the fish really like it and it actually triggers them into striking. So what we've been doing is taking these grubs and placing them on our jig heads and on our spinners, and they work really well. The one tip that I'll give you that I found over the years, that if you're going to put the grub on, hook it on so that the twister tail or the curly tail is facing up. That way, when you're pulling this along the bottom, even though you're dragging or bumping the bottom, the twister tail still works and goes around. If the twister is the opposite way, when you hit the bottom, it catches the bottom and it doesn't work so well, okay? So these are some of the best artificials you can use for walleye. The key is to fish them near the bottom and you'll catch lots of walleye.